Buckle up gentlemen, we got sponsor for today's video. That's right, it's LDPlayer. What? You haven't downloaded LDPlayer yet? Why the heck not? LDPlayer is my main emulator since it's the most Sigma Android emulator ever. And it has feature that other don't. Like the sync feature that allow you to play multiple account. You can play 2 account at the same time. Heck, even better, 8 account.
Oh my piece.
Anyway, download LDPlayer now, link in description or pinned comment down below. It is time for another upcoming Students Until anniversary and further, the latest current banner in JP. We will talk about them shortest and to the point as possible. Keep in mind, first thought is not final decision. First thought will be discuss at the last of discuss banner, while final decision is at end of this video. First thought will tell you if the banner is worth to pulling, while final decision will tell and help you with the current situation. Some meta banner will be skipped for the sake of your account not bricking. Limited rerun banner will be held with Immortalize event. That is S.Izuna swimsuit and Chise's swimsuit. S.Izuna still the best mystic sub DPS you could get within this banner is appear, and is very effective ways to defeat special armored bosses like Shiroko, Goz, and Fury of Seth. Her ability also useful as well, especially the apply priority target. You need that just to defeat Goz on phase 2. X skill is also cheap, it's good to dumping 1 X skill card. S.Chise are now the best CC for those who hate molding CC with Kyoko basic skill. After the releasing her unique gear, S.Chise are now become usable on Hod and Wakamo hovercraft phase 1 raid boss. Her build is also cheap, knowing there's no additional CC strength on her enhanced skill plus. You could just simply utilize her on 3 stars with max necklace tier and unique gear. Don't forget her hairpin. Max HP also important so she could stay in the battle longer. The standard banner is Minori swimsuit. So far, you don't need her on the gameplay. Instead she is here for the live 2D. She is the bakery factory. S.Shizuko still good student to move allies away, still usable on Shiroko and Goz. Even you could try utilizing her on Fury of Seth. But I know that you would not do it anyways because that boss is very tedious. So, these 2 limited are probably must get. Even if they are appear as niche, it's possible that you may need them for raid content. But what about S.Shiroko then? After knowing she is useful at almost every raid content and PvP, should you skip her just for this limited banner? Can't tell if S.Shiroko is skippable to get this limited, so get 3 of them and don't regret if you ever get S.Shiroko as raid off. Anyway, 10 days after limited rerun, we got new summer event. Sabing, Bing chilling. Fubuki swimsuit and Kanna swimsuit, both appear as standard banner. For Fubuki swimsuit is simply skippable. Kanna swimsuit however is niche. Also, the event give you Cherino swimsuit, and it's the best student that provide cover with attack buff. You should at least farm until 5 stars. Only if you able to though. You may not see her as the best on the first release, but later she might be useful to you. But first let's talk about Fubuki swimsuit, and why skip. Is that she is another special explosive. Her X skill is really boring to read but to simplified. The small area damage dealing greater than the medium and large area. Also this X skill ignore enemies shield status. Basic skill. Deal damage to 1 enemy and also deal AoE damage to the enemies that are near to it. Trigger every 45 seconds which is quite long. Enhanced skill has double attack which is okay. Sub skill is the best main explosive team only. So far, I still don't know when we able to use her after released. But for now she is still no uses in the current available content. But knowing Sakurako Idol is released, where her ability is provide critical rate and critical damage buff to special students might be makes her relevant soon. Though there's no strong evidence or proves that she might be in, for now this banner is skippable, unless if you are into her cuteness and orc. The other banner is Kanna swimsuit. She is support with light armored. Her X skill, dealing damage to enemy and also reduces their defense. With cheap X skill and has higher debuff scale than Akane, you can assuming that S.Kanna is the premium edition of Akane. This debuff is very useful against Binner and able to cheese torment difficulty. But keep in mind, there's cap for debuff defense, which you only need to bring 2 debuffer here instead of usually 3 debuffer. which the students that bring here will be S.Kanna and Maki, so it is a win because leaving one slot for better supporter. Moreover, she have usable basic skill, which is reduce incoming damage, so being the front is no worries. Enhanced skill also give a little help that she increase her max HP, and enhanced skill plus also helps her debuff duration is increased around 4 seconds. Sub-skill however, increasing attack and special student might be not so useful or barely make huge differences at all. So leaving this skill on level 1 should be fine as long as you need her just for the debuff defense she applied. That's it. So far S.Kanna is useful on Priotize Torment difficulty. Not only she have the highest debuff defense scale but also better than Akane. Of course you will need better build to make her usable. The welfare is Cherino. She is worth to mention that she is the better supporter that provide cover than we got currently. Because she increase attack delays when is in deploy, that last 45 seconds. With the cost of 5 is quite higher than average cover we got, but you sure as will find her useful, especially the new restriction release battle boss that appear in JP. You will need her to block attack without losing an important buff. Basic skill also useful that she increase attack to all 6 striker students that last 40 seconds. Sure 50 seconds is long but it's sure is fine. Enhanced skill both increase max HP, which makes her cover more durable. And sub-skill also attack as well. So, when this Bing chilling event is released in global, try to farm her elf as much as you can to make her cover durable. After 2 weeks Bing chilling event, an Immortalize even is here again with 3 banner. One is new while the other is rerun. The new banner is Moe swimsuit, appear as striker sonic dealer. X skill dealing AoE damage to enemies with 6e skill cost. Basic skill dealing damage to one enemy after 35 seconds. Enhanced skill both are increase attack. Sub-skill attacking extra large enemies will have additional damage by 17%. Extra large is mostly raid bosses. She is sound nice sonic AoE dealer on paper, but still not very viable for the current content. Because S.Miyako did even better than her, so S.Moe is just another regular sonic dealer that will serve probably no purpose. Her banner is skippable and so the other two. A week after, regular Hoshino and regular Hina banner have a run for 5 days. The reason these two banner exist is because the main story volume 1 chapter 3 got updated. So it's there to fill the gap. And you know it that both banner are skippable. But it should be worth to mention that regular Hina has one purpose. She will be most used student on Grand Assault Kurokyge Light Armored Insane difficulty. Though, you can just borrow her then build her right away for that, or maybe build her and then borrow the best explosive supporter. With that said, the journey is still long and only used once, so moving on. And then the 3.5 Anniversary Fest banner is here. Shiroko Terror and Hoshino battle. Also Mika have a run too. These two appear to cheese some raid content that you find difficult. With that said, how good both of them mean to you is literally skipping both would be makes you become stupid. First Shiroko Terror, appear as mystic dealer with special armored. Her X skill she summoned her drones that continuously attacking enemy and applying greatest amount of critical damage and critical rate buff to herself that last quite longer, but she sacrificed some of her HP remain. This buff also able to stack with supportive buff like Akko, which with 2 critical damage and critical rate buff will makes her even better at dealing damage. But since Shiroko Terror X skill is self buff, the damage she dealt mostly comes from basic skill. Basic skill has 2, one without her X skill activated, and one with her X skill. One without her X skill is just simply throwing bomb to one enemy and just dealing damage. While one with her X skill is kinda similar but more damage. Her basic skill is always immediately activated when you use her X skill. So before you use her X skill just make sure you have enough X skill cost to buff her, before her basic skill is active. Enhanced skill is great. Attack and critical damage. It's absolutely worth it to going up her stars until you E40 and unlocking her enhanced skill plus. Sub-skill is the best and new. So basically this sub-skill immediately increasing her mystic efficiency with no duration or last forever until the battle is ended. Then there's some passive where if her HP is hitting 1%, she won't immediately retreating. Instead she will stay on the battle for 15 seconds, waiting her HP until fully recovered. If her HP is not fully recovered within this period, then she will immediately retreat like regularly. The cooldown times is 90 seconds, which this could trigger more than once on rare case. Of course you will need healer to prevent her from retreating, but for some content like raid content may prevent you to use healers such as Shiroko and Goz. With that said, only 2 bosses is not a big deal. The content she can cheese raid content is a lot. Whenever you need mystic single DPS, then you will need her. Total Assault is best uses on Shiroko and Goz Torment difficulty with to Shiroko Terror strat. Grand Assault almost every special armored boss that requires single DPS will need to her as well. Lastly is to cheese restrictions released battle, Fury of Seth with special armored. You will now easily clear floor 100 with Shiroko Terror. Anyway, the go-to single mystic DPS that you need to get. Malding is slightly, but at least doesn't require an uncountable restart battle than the single mystic DPS we currently have before. Skipping would be dumb idea. Hoshino battle appear with mystic and heavy armored with 2 class, tanker class, and healer class. 2 class cannot be used at the same time, but both is indeed useful, not in PvP of course. Let's talk about the dealer class first. Her dealer class is absolutely a destroyer to Priotize raid boss, because she have passive, that are explained in her subskill. Her subskill is explained that her attack, or all of her attack is ignoring 80% of enemy's defense. Knowing Priotize has big defense on its minion, this will mean nothing to Hoshino battle. Her X skill also even better that it actually dealing damage at one enemy first, and then AoE damage, is enough to knock one minion and the others too, but don't forget to buff her. After that, she have a state where her basic attack will become temporary area damage for just 3 shots, because of her subskill. Sound low but still enough to knock another if the AoE damage from X skill is miscalculated. Basic skill dealing damage to one enemy, and she also apply the same state like I've explained before, because of her subskill. It's basic attack dealing AoE damage state. This basic skill don't use this time to trigger, but it counter bullets until reach 0. Enhanced skill increase critical damage, and attack range. Both is great, especially attack range, making her attack at the safe spot and stay behind tanker. Enhanced skill plus increase flat attack. And subskill, all of her attack either from X skill, basic skill or basic attack, all of these will ignore 85% of enemy's defense. Which has low damage reduction when she is attacking an enemy with thick defense, like Priotize as an example. Because of this, she able to cheese it. Also she increase her attack when X skill or basic skill is activated, and then reload instantly without delay. After that, there will be state where her basic attack dealing an area damage. It's really complicated to understand whether which is which actually going on. Well, it's because her skill kit is new. To simplified, her attack will always ignore 85% enemy's defense, her X skill dealing AoE, basic skill dealing damage into single target. If one of 2 is trigger or activated, her first basic attack will dealing area damage, is just simple as that. How good that damage is, it's an okay to knock remaining Priotize that are still standing. But most the damage she deal comes from her X skill, also that cost is high but you can use UE for that. Or use NY Fuka, but will have tedious critical malding on her X skill. Anyways, the other class is tanker. The tanker also has separate stats and skills as well. Skill level will be shared, so you don't need to increase the same skill twice here, just max them all once like usual. Anyway, the tanker class will have huge HP and defense. Her X skill, move into selected location, and then she apply shield to herself that is considered as cover. So how this actually works, basically the shield will be act like a cover. Cover is good to bounce a big ball, while shield cannot. Get it? Anyway, it may looks trash on paper, but it actually makes sense until you test her in raid boss later. Also, she increase her attack by 156%. The cover will have the same armor type as Hoshino battle, even with heavy armor. You can use her to bounce Shiro's balls once, but make sure you build her correctly, otherwise die instantly. The current build as the time how I tested her is, the minimum RUE 30 with max HP stats limit break on level 25 and bond level 11. That's the minimum to bounce Shiro Ball, while the best will be UE40 with max HP stats limit break level 25. Anyway, basic skill. Apply a ballistic plate in every 40 seconds. This state reducing damage taken as high by 24% on maximum level, and the state will be removed after receiving 25 hits. Both X skill and basic skill don't have duration, which both effect disappear after its durability count reaches 0. Enhanced skill both are increasing attack and max HP. For max HP has purpose for durable X skill cover she applied to herself. Sub skill. Her attack has low chance to apply debuff defense to the enemy by 19% that last 20 seconds, with the cooldown of 5 seconds. This actually could be an infinite debuff that she applied to the enemy. This skill has seen usefulness on previous Grand Assault, that is the Gregorious. Replacing Reisha if you don't have her, or even have her does not matter because B Hoshino is better. That's it for B Hoshino, 2 class in 1. Both are equally useful. Dealer class will utilize on raid boss Priotize and Kuro Cage Grand Assault. Tanker class are on Shiro Kuro and Gregory Grand Assault. And the other content are regular content like basic stage, and event quest or challenge. While in PvP still not the best, even the paper looks beast there, but it was not until I test her and give up. So again both these banner could actually helps you with the current raid content. Skipping both would be an absolute not so good decision, even if you don't have Pyrex left after getting your waifu. You see, human can live with 1 kidney, so, anyway, after the best banner is ended, there's till limited swimsuit banner is coming right away, that is Saori swimsuit and Hiyori swimsuit. Also, you will get the free 100 pulls like usual, and must be used on this banner before expired. With that said, which one you should pick if you only able to pick one after getting dried by the previous banner? For now, you are free to choose S.Saori if you want to make easy to the new boss on restrictions released battle. S.Hiyori so far has not been used since released. Let's talk about both first, and what they do exactly. S.Saori Mystic Dealer with heavy armored. Her X skill deal AoE damage to enemies and apply chill damage over time to them that last for 40 seconds. With the cost 7 of X skill cost it's very expensive as B Karin, but the traces her chill damage over time has long duration. The chill damage over time are commonly used against the new boss on restriction released battle. The mechanic of this boss is to bring students that are capable to deal chill damage with heavy armored on floor 74 or higher to make this boss vulnerable. It sounds easy until you tried it and realize that all restriction released battle bosses are absolute bullshit and tedious. Is S.Saori the easy button for that? Yes, but again, you know it. Basic skill. After 30 seconds, she increase her attack that last for 20 seconds. Enhanced skill also attack with mystic efficiency. Sound might be worth to unlock that UE40, but if the available content is just Chokma, is best to borrow from someone else with that UE40 unlocked. Sub skill. Basic attack have 30% chance to apply debuff increase chill damage taken to enemy that last 20 seconds with a cooldown just 5 seconds, which could be an infinity duration. And the other is S.Hiyori. To be fair, never used her since released, but she is piercing dealer with heavy armored. Her X skill as well, I had no idea where to start and what she do. So, she fire 5 projectiles within straight line. If all 5 is hitting the same enemy, then deal additional damage, and if there's X charge which appear from her sub skill, then her X skill card immediately appear again. After that, subtract 1 X charge. I don't know how to explain, since I'm still not use her even after her first appearance. Basic skill. Increase critical damage that lasts 30 seconds after 12 basic attack. Sniper has slow attack speed and to trigger this skill is equivalent 50 seconds. Enhanced skill has nice critical damage and attack type effectiveness combo. Sub skill is where her X charge gauges regenerate by 10% every 4.5 seconds. To fill up the charge requires 100%, which is equivalent 45 seconds. After that she increase her critical rate by 14% that last for 30 seconds. Keep in mind that the charge can only hold 1, so you need to use it immediately as it filled up. Now within these till limited banner, the only that are worth spending the free 100 pulls is obviously S.Saori, as she have been seen on the recent restriction release battle boss. while for S.Hiyori is still nowhere to be used, or the content that is appealing for her is not yet to be released. Get both if you could, just in case for the future content, knowing both is limited, but I guess we wait for further detail regarding both versatility and utility. After this event, we got another run event. It's this event, the best Eligma farm event that is, but only lasting for 1 week, so make use of that time to gain more, if lucky though. The banner is Meru, Cherino, Marina, and Minori. Meru banner is useful for a camo hovercraft phase 2, but you can use Miyu instead, since she is cheap and quite better than Meru actually. Cherino still remain the best AoE piercing dealer with cost regeneration sub-skill, that actually almost useful everywhere. Marina is for now useful as tanker on Kaiten FX raid boss, even with cheap build. Minori is dealer that only carry you in Gregorious raid boss, but since Hina is released, you will most likely utilize her than Minori, because it is common for player with maximum stars for Fest student. So it is skippable then, except for Cherino if you didn't have her until now, but lately, she seems less be seen or used. And then after this week, we got new event and new banner that last for 2 weeks. Introducing Tomoe Qipao and Marina Qipao. I don't have both of them and is skippable for now, so just wait for further detail as if I obtain them. Why I said this, because this banner is bait to dry your Pyrex, as the next new banner is even worth more than your tears. Okay, so the next run event is the Trinity Extracurricular, with 4 banner, 2 limited and 2 standard. S.Ui and S.Hinata have their run. Within this 2 is best to take S.Ui for better piercing effectiveness support for your piercing team. But avoid getting dried because the student with incredible utility and versatility is near. For Iroha banner, I think you will prefer B Hoshino as your main mystic AoE dealer. Miyu banner however is well Miyu. Then out of nowhere and no reason, bunny girls have their run and is skippable I guess. We all know that B Karin has no uses, but hold it, and save your Pyrex, because the next standard banner is even better than her. So anyway, after this bunny girls banner, we got 2 new banner, and 2 run banner. So the new are Kisaki and Reijo, while for the run is Shun Little and Sa Casual. In this banner, Kisaki is worth your tears and spark for. She is special supporter. Her X skill, apply buff to one ally, increasing their X skill damage dealt by 80% on maximum level that lasts for 15 seconds. Now how good exactly is this buff will be, and will Kisaki replace Himari since increased damage dealt is better than increase attack? The answer is very great, and no, Kisaki will not replace Himari position even she is better than Himari. There's drawback of this type of buff, if the student's X skill is self buff like Shiroko Terror, then Kisaki buff serve no purpose for that. So, Kisaki here is to replace Himari for the first team run. Of course you might losing attack buff on special slot, but no worries, there's Hair Camp, she is here to provide attack buff. And of course, X skill damage dealt is significantly increased with Kisaki, Ako, and C hair composition team. While Himari will be used as reserve supporter, or if the damage carries X skill as self buff. In short, Kisaki X skill is just too good to miss, skipping her would be no absolute brainer. Basic skill, apply shield after 35 seconds. The shield she provides us some good and durable. Sometimes the timing is perfect when the student is desperately needed. Enhanced skill increase healing is for her shield durability, while increase buff duration is for X skill. The duration is increased by 2.8 seconds, or X skill will be last 17.8 seconds. Sometimes, you might don't see it as very important, well if 2.8 is not that much, but considering for 2x skill cycle, there has to be a reason why her enhanced skill plus is buff duration. With that said though, it's best to unlock that buff duration anyway. Sub-skill increase cost regeneration of all allies. It's the best sub-skill for special currently, maybe will remain and will not replaceable. So that's it about Kisaki. The TLDR here is get her, either she is your waifu or meter, both are the same. For now, we have tested and she is able to one team clear any raid boss on torment difficulty. Says that you hate Kurokichi, then by having Kisaki, you will be able to clear this boss with just one team, if you have less Sonic dealer. Or perhaps Gregorious, where most player get platinum by just only clearing extreme. With Kisaki present, it's appear easier right now. Anyway, Kisaki is here to make your raid boss easier to clear and less malding. Not only that though, most event challenge start relying on her buff as well. Anyway, the other banner is Reijo. She is striker support with heavy armored. Her X skill applying a new type of debuff and state, called strengthening damage over time that is applied to the enemy. There's 2 damage over time that will get improved when it's applied to the enemy, and to explain how it works. Chill damage will have faster damage per cycle than regular, which reducing the interval of damage ticks when this debuff and state is applied to the enemy. Poison damage will dealing additional damage. Because of this, she is there for the new restriction released battle boss. Basic skill and enhanced skill increase attack, which didn't make sense considering she is supporter. Perhaps it's to improve the poison additional damage that it may be based her attack stats, well maybe. Sub skill, temporary boost cost regeneration of all allies for 5 seconds. This type of buff is quite new for the striker, as we only got Hifumi which sub skill do the same only for herself, and not allies. And to me, this is nice sub skill and useful one even. Than that one says increasing crit damage, and is applied to supporter. So that's it, these are standard banner, which you can get them as rate off, and the only one that is worth to spark for is Kisaki. She is another GOAT supporter with almost universal uses. Because of her X skill you will able to clear raid content that require multiple team with just one. It is possible that future content will start relying her. Planning to skip Kisaki for the reason she is standard or not limited and might be appear as rate off is not a solid argument to me. If you have a chance to get meter, and that banner is appear right now, then you gotta do it. Tons of copium does not guarantee you to get the student you need and miracle appear as rate off. That's it within these 2 new standard banner. The other 2 standard banner is simply skippable. These 2 currently has no uses. 2 weeks after, we have another run summer banner. That is S.Azusa, S.Mashiro and S.Hifumi. Knowing both now serve no purpose lately, so it is skippable. A week after, 3 standard run banner will be held. Yukari, Renge, and Kikyou. Yukari and Renge serve no purpose, but Kikyou is the only elastic supporter might be worth getting. However, Kikyou banner is bait considering she is niche. You may skip her because the next banner after her is limited banner. Anyway, a week after, new even is released. The Serenade Promenade, with 2 limited idol banner. Mari idol and Sakurako idol. Also you get Mine idol as the welfare. Despite limited, are they worth to spend all of your tears? Mari is striker healer with heavy armored type. Her X skill is complex to read but simple to understand. So basically, she heal to selected ally, and also heal herself. If there's an excess healing, then convert it into temporary HP. This temporary HP has maximum as 50% max HP of the target that is healed. The temporary HP gradually loosened by 5% every second, and she gain 1 stacks called fan service. Fan service stacks will be consumed or used by her sub skill. Which is, if there's 3 fan service acquired, then all allies X skill cost will reduced by 1 except herself. And this cost reduction only applicable for 1x skill. Sound familiar doesn't it? The fan service stacks only obtain from her X skill only, so there's no passive stacks gain or whatsoever. Basic skill, heal 1 ally prioritizing with the lowest HP remain after 30 seconds. Enhanced skill, both are increase healing as might be better than the striker healer we got currently. Yes, she is indeed has similarity with Kokona. Even better that Mari has better healing scale than Kokona. But you might be asking, will she replace Kokona after Mari is released? Well, both have different armored type and basic skill, so must be have different purpose as well. Mari basic skill is standard or common for it to be activated after certain seconds. After that you need to wait again for the same time as it fixed healing. While Kokona basic skill is relying on team composition. If the team has slow fire rate, then this basic skill is most likely won't trigger. But if the team has great fast attack speed, then Kokona will be the greatest passive healer support. So again, it's depend on what type of content, and both have different purpose. With that said though, Get both as you prepared for what's upcoming. The other is Sakurako. She is striker support with heavy armored type. That her X skill is a simple apply critical rate and critical damage to herself and special students that last for 17 seconds. Finally, special buffer. Now you might be wondering, how could you tell if special student get buffed or not, knowing they are not in the field? Well, there's new feature where you able to see all the buff that is applied to all students, even if they are not in the field. Subskill also a critical damage buff to herself and special student with infinite iteration. Basic skill applying attack and attack speed to herself. Considering she is supporter, this buff might be not working as if you're try utilizing it. Enhanced skill increase attack and buff duration. So anyway, with striker that buff special student, does that make a huge or significant impact into the gameplay? As for now, still no, but in the future, it might be starting that special student are the damage carry. I mean, we all already had seen that Minori carrying and striker on Gregorius at that time, but no more since Hina is released. With this Sakurako is released might be bringing the special being the damage carry in the future soon. With that said, both are limited banner, but for now Minori is top priority here, while Sakurako is still unsure or not have enough strong evidence, getting both just in case for future content. As the welfare is mine, and she is tanker with heavy armored type. Also there's like 5 banner left and it's rerun banner. For now I'll save it for future. So that's it gentlemen, the upcoming future banner 6 months from now. So let's make a conclusion. Miyako swimsuit banner. S.Izuna is best sub DPS with good utility if needed at some point, like on Go's raid boss and is worth as well. S.Chise has better CC with low build thanks to her unique gear, she is now usable. So both might be worth to get if you have not obtained them. S.Moe banner is just waifu. Sabing, Bing chilling, standard Valkyrie swimsuit banner. S.Kanna is good for banner, but I bet you won't get her, just because she is too niche. S.Fubuki still don't have content to prove she is great, so both banner is skippable, and better to save your pulls for Fest banner in case if didn't lucky. 2 weeks after, Rabbit swimsuit banner is released, and for now is skippable. A week after Hoshino and Hina banner also skippable, because the next is Fest banner is released. So after 5 days of this banner is released, the 3.5 anniversary Fest banner is released. Both are absolute must get or die. Shiroko Terror is there to cheese Fury of Set, Shirokuro, Goz, and maybe Grand Assault bosses that require single mystic DPS. B Hoshino tank class has some utility to take damage on Gregorius, Shirokuro phase 1, and also other that need tanker with reposition or blocking ability. The dealer class is there to destroy Perorazilla Torment, and future Grand Assault boss that uses special armored with big defense like Kurokage. Mika banner also rerun, get her, she is the best piercing dealer. So you will need at least 48k Pyrex plus 24k. And then after this Fest banner, S.Saori and S.Hiyori. You will get 100 free pulls, and use that on S.Saori. If you failed to get both from 100 pulls because not enough copium, that's fine. Both are still in question whether useful or not, since we already got the best DPS for aid, while these two might be too niche to get. Then these 5 banner appear, and I'm sure it's skippable because you already dried from previous banner, or the Fest banner. Even Cherino and O.Shigure is nice to have but you are too poor to get them unless having both already would be an easy skip. Next is Qipao banner also skippable. These 2 banner appear. S.Ui is nice to have, but if you too poor, then you have to skip them. Also the other 2 banner is skippable. After that bunny girl banner is appear and skippable. It's better to save your pulls for better supporter soon. Kisaki and Reijo banner appear. Kisaki is must pull until get or spark to get, because she is the best supporter for future content. Almost all raid boss is cheesed by her support skill. Anyway, you better have her, or will have difficult time to clear raid, embracing the old tactic and very tedious. Also the other 2 is definitely skip, you don't need them right now. Both Elshun and Seasire are available to be farm on hard stage. And then the first Trinity swimsuit banner are pretty much skippable after previous ban, that is must get or spark to get. So you had to skip these 2 limited, Due too poor to get them. Next is the Miyako standard banner. Kikyou sure is good to have, but you may skip, because you might already dried after Kisaki sucking you off, so maybe skip it is. And the next after this banner, limited idol banner is released. I would say they might be worth your tears at the moment, and knowing they are limited, skipping them would be no turning back here if they are become useful in the future content. I mean, who knows, perhaps John Nexon hinting us that the next fest might be special DPS. But Imari might be top priority here than Sakurako. While the other 5 upcoming banner, you should not pulling them, and that's because you don't have Pyrex for sure. So that's it. If you are pulling for meter student, S.Izuna, B. Hoshino, Shiroko Terror, Mika and Kisaki are the banner you should put them as the top priority first. While the second priority should be O.Shigure, S.Ui and Kikyou. Not telling you should spend your tears on them. If you don't have enough or having less than 2 spark, it is skip, and use that spark for fest banner instead. Let's say, currently you only have 24 Pyrex, and which banner you should spend tears on. Then you only have to pull the fest student, B. Hoshino and Shiroko Terror. After that start saving until Kisaki is released. If you somehow manage to get both fest students and Kisaki less than spark, then you are able to get one of the idol banner. Anyway, remind you again, if you have just 24 Pyrex, skip all the banner until fest student is appear. After that save until Kisaki banner. If you spark for them, most likely, you have to skip the idol banner. I do saying this because this all is planned as the worst case or bad luck. That's it. So many meter banner that have to skip unfortunately. You do this for the fest banner and Kisaki. You're casual free to play after all. Perhaps you are looking for students with better utility and versatility, or perhaps looking for child and turning them to be your waifu, or maybe collecting limited banner is above priority. Lastly waiting for fest only and going all out. The decision is yours. And that should be all. As always, Godspeed.